The squash was finished in here. So I'm taking this soil out of here right now, and it is just packed with earthworms. I don't know if you can see it. Everywhere I dig, there's earthworms everywhere. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the soil in here. I'm going to load the bottom with wood chips and leaves, and then re-put back all this. The earthworms and microbes will go back and forth, and I can plant in there anything I want. I can plant brassicas for the winter, maybe some cabbage and different things, and I can just cover it up because I already have the irrigation tubing here. So I think that'll work out perfect. So everything goes out of here, or almost everything. I can refill this up with something or take it out and use it in the spring, either way, because I'm not going to grow squash in here right now. I might take that out and put it somewhere and then bury it back later on for the spring. And this will give me more growing room, so maybe I can put 4 cabbages in here. Oh, that would be nice. All right, to work I go. Hi, this is Robbie from Southern California. This is what I do in the morning before I have breakfast, before it gets too hot. Now that is the pitchers I put in. It makes like a worm farm. You stuff it constantly with leaves, with stuff like this. The earthworms, the microbes come in there. They munch away in the pitcher, and then everything leaches into the tote, and it continues to be plant food or fertilizer for your plant. But I think I'm going to skip it right now. There's the drain holes. So what I'm going to do right now is load that up, because I took out what I wanted, and whatever's left I can kind of push it over. That's on the bottom, and put it on top of the wood chips or whatever I'm going to stuff it with. You'll see. Let's go. So now I'm going to get this tote ready to plant in. I don't think I'm going to plant in it right away, but pretty soon. So I took out almost everything, and as you can see, it collapsed. In other words, it was closer to the top before, and as the plants grew, it slowly dropped down. And it's all in the wheelbarrow now. Now there's a lot of earthworms in there, so I've got to keep track of them. I don't want them to fall on the ground because it's kind of dry here. And I want to make sure that everything gets into my wheelbarrow. You can't really see it, but there's just tons of tiny earthworms. Now, as you may or may not remember when I put this together, but you know how I put all my others together, I gather up things from around the yard, whether I use wood chips, old plants like you can see here. That's what goes in there, just like nature does. And then it breaks down to what you see. All new compost, soil, dirt, whatever you want to call it, broken down, and everything that was in there disappears. And that's what's supposed to happen. Now, the plants that we plant in there are not making this disappear. They have nothing to do with that. They're just sitting on top, reaping the benefits of the earthworms and the microbes that are coming in there and making everything break down and disappear. So they wait for it. Now, you wouldn't want to plant completely in the raw, as you see what I'm putting in there now. You would want some sort of soil. It could be a little bit on the top. It can come from another container. It can come from a bucket, a flower pot, whatever you've got. But since I'm not going to plant in it today, and I will explain how I can plant in it if I wanted to, I'm just going to mix it all up. I'm going to have the earthworms that are in there, and it is loaded, have a feast on everything I'm putting in there. Because, like I said, I'm going to wait probably at least a few days before I plant in there. Now, if I tried to put seeds in there, as you see it, just the way it is, it depends on the seeds. Squash seeds would make it. Cucumbers probably would make it. But if you tried other things, different carrots and beets and different things like that, it's not going to grow. I don't know even if corn would. Not as you see it here. Now, in a couple weeks, when it starts to break down, yes, you don't have to wait that long. I don't. But you can plant in it today if I wanted to. Now, I'm mixing it up right now because this soil that I pulled out of there, the compost, that has been sitting in there breaking down as my squash grew a whole bunch of zucchini for me, and then it just fizzled out. It may have made it if I left it, but I looked at it and thought, nah, it's not worth it. I've got so much. I'm going to yank it out and get the tote ready because this does collapse when it breaks down. So that's why I got rid of it. I didn't want to hang on for the winter because I can get winter stock in there now. Well, in other words, fall stock. But I'm looking at all the earthworms in there.
Now, all of them that are in there, you'll see it as we go, are really small, which makes me think that the big ones took off because, well, you and I both saw it. There's nothing left in there. It looks like something that pretty much comes out of a bag when you go to the store. So I'm using a lot of the wood chips that Gary just got. Yep, brand new wood chips, just cut. And it would pull a lot of nitrogen from plants I would try to plant in there right now as it is breaking down. That's why I don't want to plant in this directly. You can use the wood chips that he got on the top, and that would be perfectly fine. But to mix it in could hinder the plants for quite a few months. And I don't have quite a few months to wait. So I'm going to mix it up because I want these earthworms to do the job of breaking down the wood chips and breaking down all the green and yellow leaves I'm putting in there. You do want to mix it up. Depending on what's in there, the microbes, the earthworms, whatever is there, they do have different appetites, I've noticed. So this way, some of them will munch on or dissolve or get rid of the wood chips, while the others will get rid of the green matter that's going to quickly turn brown and start to decay, and that's what they want. They want the decaying matter. So you want that to break down so your plants will have natural fertilizer from what's going on in there and the desired compost or soil that the plants want. And that's basically all. I don't want to put it all the way to the top, but I'm going to kind of put as much as I can, and then it will slowly break down. I can always add wood chips later. Looks like I'm going to be left with quite a bit. I could have put the pitcher back and buried it, but I'm actually thinking of some cabbages or cauliflower in there. And then I can tool the top, that fabric I use, and cover it. This way I won't have caterpillars. And this way I won't have anybody eating it except for me when it's ready. That's pretty much it. There's not that much else that has to be done. But as you saw, everything I put in there still has to break down. I need to get you a photo of this. I want you to see the worms that are in there because that is just amazing. It is packed with little earthworms. See how small they are? They would be much bigger if there was more food. So these little ones have enough to eat that was in there, little bits of wood here and there and leftover leaves, but the big ones really devoured everything. And they do leave. Earthworms will crawl out in the middle of the night when you don't see. So I see a lot of these baby ones, and that's what I want to keep fed. And there's a lot that's going to be in the wheelbarrow too. So I'm going to have to find the place for that because I don't want them to dry up. With this heat, if that soil dries up and the earthworms don't get out of there in time, that will be the end of them. So I'm going to put some wood chips on the top as well. Like I said, top dressing is perfectly fine. Now, since I'm probably not going to plant it today, let me explain something. That if I wanted to plant in there today, just as it stands, and not put potting soil or some other soil on the top for my plants to grow in, there is a way of doing it. I could plant multiple plants in flower pots, and then I can put them all over on the top. And then as the plant grows, it will send its roots into this, which would be perfectly fine. It's doing it at its leisure, and then it will grow. I do it all the time. Plus, with the heat, it keeps everything damp. And you want to make sure that you get a good watering in there. Now, I'm rinsing out my pitcher that I make like these little earthworm farms out of. I don't put the earthworms in there. They find their way in there because I stuff them with leaves. But there's so many baby earthworms, I don't want to accidentally leave them in there and they'll just dry out. So I'm going to rinse this really good. And even if there's eggs, that will all get into the wood chips. It'll seep through and then they can continue to hatch. If there becomes too many in there, they'll crawl out and find someplace else to go. But if they're happy, they'll stay in there. And I've had some of them just packed with earthworms as long as there is enough food. My soil I grow in with these totes are alive. And I'm telling you, I can never have enough totes. It's the easiest garden to set up. Costs you, what, $5, $6, and you can set up a raised bed and just go for it and not even have to think about it. Now the water will seep in, so where it was dry will be damp, so the earthworms can move around all the way to the bottom, and it can come all the way to the top. We're done. Oh, another job done for today. Now, I loaded this up with leaves, wood chips, things from the ground all over that I have around here. You watch me do it. My solar fountains are going on.
Now I could push it away and plant directly in there, or I could let it sit till spring, or I could plant a lot of plants in pots, layer the whole thing, cover it up so none of the animals or critters get to it, protect the plants, and continue to grow vegetables right now. Oh, look. So there's so many things I can do with it, because right now I'm not going to start zucchini. It's kind of late. I could try, but I've got so much. I think I'm done with that. I'm not going to start any tomatoes right now because I have a ton of tomatoes. I have frozen so many, and I have so many more to freeze, and we're using them all the time. There's a lot of different things I can plant. Any of the brassicas. I could plant lettuce in here if I wanted to cover it. Though we're still very hot, it doesn't look like it right now in the morning, but we get really hot during the day, close to 90, over 90. So there's different things I can do, but I think I'm going to layer it. Now this is the issue. I've got to get this set up somewhere. It is so full of earthworms. This that I built, this is the pitcher that goes inside. It was full of leaves and different things. It was packed with earthworms. I tipped it out and rinsed it. Now I can use that now. I can use it in the spring, but I figured for this right now, going into fall in the next few weeks, I think I may want to layer and then let the plant put its roots into the bottom as everything else is still working and breaking down. It'll be perfect for spring. So I'm going to have double duty, growing all winter and waiting for spring. But this I'm going to have to watch. Now I can cover the top with wood chips, leaves, or whatever I want. I stuffed in some different brassica leaves in there so the earthworms can eat. I noticed they were very small. I'm thinking the large ones left because, as you saw, they demolished all the leaves, branches, and everything that was in there that they can eat. And so the big ones will leave and the little ones continue to hatch and find whatever they can forage in there. So this has to be moved out of the sun because the sun is coming out right now and I can feel the heat on my back and my head. So I need to move that so I don't cook my earthworms, and then figure out if there's another tote or maybe some more anything, buckets. I could set them up. I don't have to plant in them, but I can keep my earthworms alive and happy by putting it in a bucket with drain holes and then all the food that they can forage on. So I hope I'm giving you ideas on how we can garden free or close to it. I'm going to go in and have breakfast because I know Gary took off to go make breakfast. I saw him foraging around for some tomatoes and stuff. And then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with this fairly quick. Probably just stick it under a tree in the shade. I think I'll do that now. So with that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. And try to make your own soil, because the soil, as you saw, that I grow in here is alive. Even in my dog kennel, the soil is alive, and that's why we produce so much food. Bye-bye.